Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talking Toys with your hosts, Brock Lauer and
Kyle Walters.
And today we'll be talking about two topics. This is actually going to be our holiday episode. And today we'll be talking about holiday Blockbuster toys and also the late, great Stan Lee, who passed away, I think it was like two weeks ago. And so we're going to get you all caught up with updates. So the latest update to come out right now is the Marvel Select Disney Store exclusive Venom has come out. This was kind of like off the wall kind of thing that just happened randomly. He does come with 3 heads, 1 closed and 2 mouths open with a long tongue coming out and the poison. He has a kind of like the closed mouth is like a crooked mouth, and he also comes with symbiote tendrils. What did you think of that reveal, Kyle?
I thought it was cool. It just seemed like they just slapped some new things on an old body, but
yeah,
it looks good. Disney Store usually has very good exclusives. I'm a fan. I've always liked their Marvel Select exclusives. A lot of them are better than the normal ones, than the normal Marvel Selects. Like one year they did the Marvel Select Hulkbuster, which was great. They did a comic version, Modern Hawkeye, which was great. I never got it, but they did the Thor that I love with the spinning hammer, which is a staple in my collection. So they usually have really, really good exclusives.
Yeah, I like the new body to it. I like the paint. I'd have to see it in person. That's kind of like something I want to see in person before I make a decision. I like the one head. I'm not crazy about the other two because the tongue on the one looks too long and the closed one looks weird on that head. Like, I like the one head, but I'm not crazy about like the circly eyes he has. So I'd have to see it. I like to fit like the head of the other one, the classic one, onto that one, but they don't have that head. I don't have that figure either. So, I mean, I have to see it in person. I think it's a well-made figure, and with the extras it comes with, it kind of looks insane. It's bonkers with the tendrils and the like back piece it comes out that attaches to them. It looks pretty crazy. SH Figure Arts released their Avengers line at the a Tokyo Con. There's like a Toy Con or something like that. And so Tamashii Nations released a Captain Marvel figure in her green suited Star Force outfit and a one where she has the red-blue suit. She has flame effects and has a helmet and unmasked head, like where she looks like she has a mohawk. I think you were telling me you like those.
I love them both. I think they're both fantastic. They're both good. I will own them both. Depending on the price. Now, some things, like if it's a Japanese type exclusive, sometimes they can run over $100.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. But if it's like around the normal SH Figure Arts prices of like $60, I'll buy them both.
I know with imports now, with the Chinese tariffs, I read an article that prices for imported toys are going to go up, so I think that's going to hurt a little bit more now with kind of that international tariff thing. So they might go up, just letting you guys know about that. I did read that the price of toys will go up on account of those tariffs, getting imports and stuff. They're also releasing a Phil Coulson with gun. He has shades in his suit, which look kind of cartoony, like the head looked kind of big. They also releasing Guardians of the Galaxy 1 Nebula figure, Scarlet Witch from Civil War, Captain America in his classic suit, a new Winter Soldier, Thor from Avengers 1, Loki, and Hulk. Any of those you planning to get, or
Phil Coulson and Nebula for sure.
Nebula. Do you have the Avengers Loki? From it was like Marvel Legends-ish from the first Avengers.
Yes, I do. I might get that one too.
Yeah,
that figure arts one looks really good.
Yeah,
those were the Walmart exclusives. Those were cool. Yeah, I remember you and I hunted a lot of those.
Yeah.
The Hawkeye and the Hulk were the hardest, right?
From what I remember. They were. That actually was the first wave of Marvel Legends I collected. Yeah, but they weren't like necessarily considered Marvel Legends yet, but they were Marvel Legends, before what they are now. But yeah, those were cool. I really enjoyed those, and I think out of all of them, the Loki figure looks the best. Also, they released at the Tokyo Con Magna, Samurai, Iron Man, and Black Panther, and Star Wars IG-88 and Kylo Ren. They're kind of like this samurai-looking figures with samurai touch. The
IG-88 is a samurai figure?
He kind of, in a way, he's wearing like one of those hats those like Chinese people wear.
I didn't think they would go for the samurai look for a robot.
Yeah, that's
kind of cool because I'm very familiar with the line. They've done Jango Fett for Star Wars, Darth Maul. It's weird. They've mostly done Star Wars and Marvel.
Yeah, they did IG-88. This is kind of new. And Kylo Ren. Those are the ones that came out. I mean, I guess you haven't seen IG-88, but did you see the Iron Man or Black Panther one yet? I think it just came out. This is all came out last week, but check them out. It is a cool take. I actually do think they do a really good job with those. I think they did C-3PO and they did Darth Vader, which looked pretty cool. By the way, speaking of Star Wars, real quick, did you see the custom what they did with R2-D2? They put an R2-D2 head with a Hulk Buster body, and they just painted it like R2-D2 is like the super robot.
Oh no, I'll have to check it out.
It's pretty cool. It actually got a lot of attention because it was like R2-D2 head with the Hulk Buster body, but they painted it like R2-D2 colors. It's really cool. It looked pretty damn cool. I think it should be a figure that actually they should make commercially because I think it would sell. In other news, they also made more Star Wars SH figure arts figures such as the Ghost Obi-Wan figure. He's like translucent blue. R2-D2 from Empire Strikes Back. Luke in a snowspeeder pilot outfit. General Grievous. Carbonite Han. And New Hope Han, Chewie, and Han is in his stormtrooper getup. And Luke and Leia. And they also have an Ewok and Jedi Luke from Return of the Jedi also coming out. So, any of those interest you? I know they also have like Darth Maul, General Grievous, and like Qui-Gon. Any of those?
Possibly Luke in his snow outfit, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I do need Darth Maul's speeder that they came out with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do imports myself, but I will say the figures look great. I just do Marvel Legends or Star Wars Black Series, so can't say that they don't well made because I know a lot of people use SH figure arts for photo ops to make like action scenes because it's like those posing like to make like action scenes look like. They use SH figure arts mostly. It'll be like Hulk punching a Coca-Cola can and Cap's holding it up or something to shield himself from like the Hulk or something. So like a lot of people do that photog figure posing stuff with SH.
Yeah, the ACBA articulated comic book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They use SH figure arts most of the time, so and they look really good. Hot Toys is releasing a classic costume Aquaman from the movie. From the movie Aquaman, his classic outfit. Alita, Predator from the new movie. An Outrider figure from Avengers Infinity War. An army of aliens attacking Wakanda from Infinity War. And also Corvus Glaive, who was part of the Black Order. Any of those Hot Toys interest you?
Not really.
No. But, they're cool. I mean, Hot Toys does a good job, and they've been really stepping up with more interesting characters and stuff like that. So, I mean, like, they did, like, Iron Spider really well, and they've been doing, like, a lot more of, like, DC and having their own spin. I know they did, like, a Joker Batman. It's, like, a random one. Like
that. They did that as an exclusive for Sideshow. Sideshow exclusive, yeah.
Yeah. And also, the Marvel Legends Mystique figure will also be a Walgreens exclusive. So that's all the news coming out.
Walgreens and Hasbro needs to give us a Doctor Doom.
Yeah, they do. And also, another note, in January, the Kingpin Build-A-Figure wave and the all-movie Black Panther wave will be hitting in January as well for Marvel Legends. They'll be coming out in January, where that was the M'Baku wave. So, from Marvel Legends. So that's all the updates we have for now. Move on to our next topic. It was a big news to us all, I think, in the toy and comic book industry and the nerd community as well. Anybody who likes pop culture, that the great Stan Lee has passed away. I think he died at like 96. If you've been following Stan Lee, he had kind of like a rough year last year. He was kind of like getting taken advantage of, and his wife died, and he was getting sick, and he died of pneumonia. That he passed away with respiratory failure and internal organ failure. It was pretty sad. It hurt in some way in form of retrospect that there's this guy who was so full of life and all of the Marvel movies and stuff. And if you live in a cave, you would know that he created X-Men and Hulk and Spider-Man. He worked on Captain America. He created Iron Man. He created Thor. Was like the head at Marvel for a while, and he kind of just pretty much built Marvel from what it is today. He also did the not so good movies from the 70s and 80s, and he wanted to make that into like a film industry. But at that time, special effects and what you could do today wasn't available back then. Now it is because it's so big now, but it is built to what it is today thanks to Stan Lee. I read his stuff all the time on a daily basis. He's a great writer. One of the greatest writers I ever read. I met him one time at my first Comic-Con in Pittsburgh with my friend Marco. He's a really fun, warm guy, really positive. More people need to be like Stan Lee because he didn't have a bad bone in his body. So yeah, it comes as a bit of a shock that he's gone, but his legacy continues to live on, and that's how you truly become immortal. Kyle, what do you think of Stan Lee and his passing?
It's definitely sad. He inspired so many people. I love the fact that he thought that he was going to just participate as a comic writer to get into writing books and other stories because he loved writing. He said back in the day it was looked down upon and no one wanted to get into comics. And he's like, nowadays everyone wants to get into comics. Funny because it's like how it went from something that was viewed as just for kids to now viewed as adults. And I think he's always inspired people. And I love his stubbornness. And what I mean by that is his, we could call it blissful stubbornness.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when he did that Amazing Fantasy 15,
Mm-hmm.
and they thought it was gonna fail, and then afterwards, because he just insisted on putting it in there because he really liked the character, and then afterwards when his producer was like, "Hey, remember that Spider-Man character we both love so much?"
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's amazing how many people, like just off the top of my head, just really quick, we could even just rapid fire like
Yeah.
at the same time, like Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Mysterio, Black Panther,
Yeah.
Charles Xavier, Magneto. And I loved how a lot of the stories may just seem like they were for kids at first, but they were deeper. And even like when they used to have the comics code,
Mm-hmm.
and how he did an anti-drug story,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't want to put it in there because it showed that Harry. It was the one where Harry was like so stoned that he almost fell off a building.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said, "Well, I want to do it anyways," and he
Right.
did it. And he's like, and then after a while, people realized, hey, we don't need the comics code. The sky didn't fall, and we just did what we wanted, and which is great because with the comics code of America, would we have something like a Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns?
Right. I agree.
Like a sidekick from Image, which was great. Pretty much all of Image. They would not have let us have Image.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
Or even like, what is it? I can't think of the name, but where DC has where the Lucifer comics from, where DC has that like adult section.
Yeah, the comics code to me, when Stanley went around that, tiptoed around, well, not tiptoed, but he just like said, you know what, screw it, I don't care what you guys think. I'm gonna do what I feel is right. I think the comics code to me is an infringement on freedom of press and literature. It's censoring stuff, and it's like you can't censor. To me, you can't censor the world from kids. It's the world. It's there. It's there as you take it, and like older people also read comics, and it's to me, it's when he did that, it was like, whoa, that was a big risk. Plus, he put his job on the line, and he comes from a time where it's funny because when you talk about Stan Lee, you talk about him. He created everything and made the characters relatable to people because their characters in Marvel comics were relatable because they didn't want to be superheroes. It was an inconvenience. It was more along the lines of, hey, I don't want to be a superhero, and they were like, it got to be a stressful job, and a lot of the time in many of the comic books, the titles, you have a couple issues where Iron Man wants to quit, and then you have a couple of issues where Spider-Man's like, you know what, I had it, and Spider-Man has to also balance college, a girlfriend, his friendships, his job, his homework, and being Spider-Man at the same time. That's what real life storytelling is, as opposed to the DC characters who were more like godlike, and they were kind of like way superior beings. Stanley gave these characters a lot more to be relatable to. It wasn't fun being a superhero. It wasn't glamorous. It was just kind of like an inconvenience and a chore.
That's why, like, even like someone like I love Frank Miller, and Frank Miller was inspired by Stan Lee. I do agree with you. I think Batman's probably one of the very, very few DC characters that's relatable because Batman, aside from him being a billionaire, Batman's like he wasn't born on Krypton like Superman. He doesn't have this magical ring from the Guardians of Oa like Green Lantern. He wasn't from he wasn't king of the seven seas like
Right.
Aquaman with this awesome trident. He wasn't an Amazon like
Right.
Wonder Woman. He was just a dude who's smart,
Right.
who invents stuff. And it's like that's why even with Spider-Man, it's like Spider-Man still gets anxiety and he can't tell anyone, and it's just I think Spider-Man is the most relatable character, either him or like the Punisher.
Right. And spinning off what you said about Batman, I think Batman also has trauma. Like his villains have some sort of trauma, like some sort of like psychosis. Batman has a psychosis. He can't get over the death of his parents, but he uses that grief for good, as opposed to all the other villains mirror that, but they use that grief for evil, which I love about Batman. It's just he has grief and he has a problem, but he does it in a more constructive way for society. I have a couple favorite cameos where he's like in Spider-Man 3, one person can make a difference, or one where he's kind of like he's in a Deadpool trailer and he's like, hey, nice suit, and then Deadpool's like, zip it, Stan Lee. So I mean, there are a lot of cameos. He did like Tony Stank was a good one. And
one of my favorite things was, I think it was the first Avengers.
Yeah.
And I loved one of the funniest things was when they showed that Stan Lee cameo, and it was you and me, and like maybe like four other people in the audience laughed, and you just see all these people that are like, why are they so excited about this? Why are they laughing? And it's like, it's Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
I hope they continue it. Like, I hope they do some more of that stuff.
The artists are just as responsible as Stan Lee folks as to creating everything that you see today at Marvel. They're just as responsible. Even also, the late Steve Ditko passed away, ironically, in the same year as Stan Lee did.
Oh, Steve Ditko died this year too?
Yeah, I remember. I don't know what. It's older news.
Oh, where have I been? I forgot about that. That was over the summer, right?
Yeah, it was over the summer.
Oh, because it was really weird because Steve Ditko, he sometimes seemed unfriendly, but at the same time, if you wrote him, he would write you back.
Yeah.
But the one thing I always found
He's
weird,
kind of a recluse.
Yeah,
that's just kind of like how he was.
It was weird and fascinating at the same time. If you wrote him or gave him a typed letter, he would write you back in pencil. And I always found that weird. He would write you back. It was like cursive pencil.
Yeah.
I should have done it, because then I could have gotten a framed Steve Ditko letter, but I never did because I didn't know what to say. Like,
I mean, Stan's relationship with a lot of the artists they had a lot of friction.
I mean,
the thing that was different is like those artists were kind of, not to insult him or anything, they weren't like showmen. Like Stan Lee was a lot of, like, very showman-y. He was very good with like the media and the crowd and talking. A lot of the artists weren't like that. They were kind of like reclusive and not as like, hey, like Stan Lee was. But they're just as responsible for the art and success of Marvel. They are co-creators in everything you see, from Iron Man to Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Giant Man. I mean, like Infinity War, even till today.
The weirdest thing to me, though, and I still like, it still is fascinating to me, was Stan Lee. He didn't create Captain America, but he like breathed life into Captain America in the 70s. I want to say when he brought him back. Was it was that 70s or 60s?
It was, I believe, the 60s, because that when they brought him back, that was
in Avengers 4, right?
Right, like it's like that print next above you. That's when he comes back. Yeah, because he's a man out of time, and that was like the breathing new life into him, because he wasn't around since World War II. Now Stan Lee started making short stories for original Captain America in the like 40s or 40s when the war started. So he did the short stories, and then like there was also the comic book by Joe Simon.
That was it.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah, Jack Kirby and Joe Simon.
You think about it, and you collect a bunch of Marvel toys, and you're like, all your collection's almost because of Stan Lee.
Right.
All his characters, like my whole shelf of Marvel Legends. It's all the Stan Lee characters. And it's all because of him. Villains, heroes, just regular characters.
The weirdest thing to me is, so a lot of people don't know this. Brock does. I need to get it framed, but I have an original art piece signed by Bob Kane.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite thing in my collection. Well, there are other things like that. Like mine's just on a little piece of cardboard paper. But if you go to eBay and you type in Bob Kane drawing,
Mhm.
um, a lot of them you might get lucky because Stan Lee said that. I remember watching an interview with him. He said him and Bob Kane used to eat at diners in like New York City.
Yeah.
And he said a lot of people, or California or whatever, and he said a lot of people would come up to them. Even back in the day, they recognized them. And he said, I believe it or not, I was shy. He said, so people, he said Bob Kane would sketch some Batman.
Yeah.
And it's like, so if you, it's cool because it's like if you go on eBay even now, you can see like these diners from like New York,
Yeah.
Jersey, and it'll be like two Mike, two Frank,
Yeah.
and it'll be a little picture of Batman, and it's cool. And it's like, fortunately, I got mine for like $103, which is a steal, because some people want like $10,000, and I'm like, but that's a completely different. eBay scalpers is a different topic for a different day. But
You're right.
it's just cool to think that like as comic book fans, like
Yeah.
if you and I went into a restaurant, and saw Bob Kane and Stan Lee just nonchalantly eating like a grilled cheese and some tomato soup, like
Yeah.
I don't know what I would be so like overly excited. I
Right.
would
I
not be
mean,
able to contain it.
when I met Stan Lee, it was the first Comic Con with Marco, and I expected him to come in like a limo and just photographers, and you're expecting like this mega celebrity. No, he comes up in like a Prius, and he just comes out and walks into the con. Everybody just claps and stuff, and it's him. And this was like it was my first show, and we met him, and I have the picture of him in my den, sitting next to him, and he was just this like nicest guy. I'm like, hey man, we're really great friends. We're really great fans, and we just love your work. And he's like, that's like the way it is, and that's like he said something like no other way or something, like he said something like that's the way it should be or whatever. And he was like this super warm guy, and I met him once, and I never felt really the need to meet him again. And I got a signature from him, and I also got my photo. And for at that time, it was really affordable, as it was before later in his life. And it's just he's the epitome of what people should be, because he was never negative or hostile to anybody.
For me, he would be like on my Mount. I would call it a Mount Rushmore of nerdom.
Yeah.
Which would be like Stan Lee, and then I would have Akira Toriyama, which for those who don't know, he invented his most famous works are the Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, all those huge animes. And then of course, someone I would love for you and I definitely want to meet these guys someday, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini.
Yeah.
And if those names sound familiar, it's because they worked on every big cartoon that you loved from DC in the 90s and early 2000s. Batman the Animated Series, Adventures of Batman and Robin, Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond.
Right.
You name it, they did it. And they invented Harley Quinn and Red Claw, which, side note, I don't know why Red Claw has not been more popular, because she was a wonderful villain. But I would love to meet them. Like, I don't know, Stan Lee is just the fact that he inspired so many people to be creative and to think outside the box.
Yeah,
like
and
because even the underlying adult themes. Like I've always loved the X-Men, and if you look at how he wrote it in the time where people were viewed, like, let's say you were a black American in the 60s. Some people were racist and they viewed you as less than human.
mm-hmm.
And then you could see the overlaying themes where in mutant world, if you're a mutant, some people view mutants as less than human.
Yeah.
So he drew it as like Magneto's way of responding to that is the same as Malcolm X, until later in Malcolm X's life where he realized maybe he was going about things the wrong way, which is where, okay, if the humans and mutants can't coexist, so we'll just get rid of all the humans. Whereas Professor Xavier was more like Dr. King. He wanted to say, no, let's try to come to an understanding. Let's try to, preach love and tolerance so mutant kind and humankind can coexist. And I always loved how even with what people perceive, air quote wise, like a children's story, always had underlying themes that were adult. Where like even I loved X-Men as like the X-Men as like a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I'm 27. I still love me some X-Men because like all that stuff is so good still.
You were totally 100% correct with the X-Men. And like Stan Lee, we know that he made the Hulk and he made Giant Man and he made but like certain characters that really are I mean like they're just totally iconic because like he made the first black superhero Black Panther when nobody else was doing that.
No one would even want to, tempt that, and he said, I don't care.
Yeah, and he did that.
And what people fail to realize too is like even nowadays, like Black Panther, even more than just the fact that he was the first black superhero, like he interwove it. Whereas like vibranium, is without vibranium, Captain America doesn't have a shield.
Well, he shows
amazing.
He shows there that any undeveloped third world country is actually like this utopia. And it's like, like the rest of the world looks down upon like a country like that, and it's like, well, they don't know the real story. That they have all this vibranium and stuff like that.
Which is where like even like you can look at even poor countries in Africa where they have like diamond mines, and it's like they could be. That's a good point. They could be worth billions,
right?
But people exploit them, which is why you have like.
And Wakanda is not exploited. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you're right.
And it's like Wakanda is, phenomenal in just how they just govern themselves. I will say this. I think Black Panther. Speaking of Black Panther, I think it's top 5 Marvel movie, but Captain America 2: The Winter Soldier will, I think, forever be my favorite Marvel movie. Just those twists and turns.
And like also another milestone character, a disabled superhero, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Blind. He's a blind guy. Never made a blind superhero before. And then I started reading Daredevil. Like I like, oh, how does he do what he does? And then in the book, and then how he writes Daredevil is that he his other senses are more keen, but it's through vibration. So like everything vibrates essentially because everything's like everything around him vibrates. So he sees vibrations.
Speaking of Daredevil, not cool Netflix, not cool.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I think that was a bit off the mark here, but yeah.
But with Daredevil, even with Daredevil, Stan Lee said when he wrote him, he was worried that the blind community would be offended.
Oh no, they loved him.
But when he read it in Braille, the blind community thanked him for saying that, hey, even though we're blind, we can still do great things.
Right, and that was so cool. Like they never made another blind superhero before. I mean, like that was so different, and like and he had like a superpower because he didn't see, but he still fought crime and had like it's just so great. I mean, the Netflix series. It's a shame that it left us. I'm like really disappointed in that, and I think I'm not gonna say blame here, but it's like Netflix and Disney. I'm like, dang, that was such a great show. And the latest season of Daredevil was. It was like perfect. It was like the best season.
It was weird that they canceled that because it makes you wonder now. Are they the only one they haven't canceled that I know of so far is Jessica Jones, right?
And the Punisher, but those will be eventually canceled. But not to go too off topic, like Daredevil, has like really cool superpowers, and he has like the nunchucks and stuff like that. And then like Stan Lee also created great characters like Kingpin, a very corporate villain and stuff like that. So
it was ingenious. It was like Kingpin's always to me been like the muscular, somewhat fat Lex Luthor.
Right. Yeah.
But Kingpin is great too because Kingpin, much like Lex Luthor, never gets caught.
Yeah.
He always has other people doing his bidding.
Yeah, and we're just gonna close up on Stan Lee here, but like he made Luke Cage and another black superhero on Thor. He made a new spinoff on Thor and Iron Man, the industrial hero has a weakness. He's rich and he's a playboy, but he has a weakness in his heart because he has the shrapnel. Like how he created stuff was just it made the characters very relatable. You gotta commend him for that. What can you say? I mean, the Hulk, iconic, very similar to Frankenstein. But I think if you ask Stan Lee, and you asked him what characters he wished he created, he would say Wolverine and he would say Batman.
I truly believe that too. Wolverine was, I know that was Hulk 181. Technically, I guess you could say it was 180 because he appeared in one panel.
Right.
But 180, 180 could be like $100 book. 181 could be what? Probably up to like 10 grand if it's if you found a 9.8, it could be.
Yeah, and like the great thing about Stan Lee's writing was that he'd explain everything. Like he'd explain the web shooters in the comic books and the science of that.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Oh yeah, and he had really great words for stuff like that and great quotes, and yeah, great power comes great responsibility at the end of Amazing Fantasy 15, which is interesting because it's the most popular Marvel character, but the first issue, it being Amazing Fantasy 15, is a tragedy, and that is so powerful. That's so powerful that like it has a bad ending, but it's a very powerful ending because it's such pretty much a tragedy.
Who invented? I can't even think off the top of my head. Who invented Wolverine?
Oh, I can't remember.
It wasn't like they weren't like famous. They were comparatively with like a Bob Kane, a Stan Lee,
Yeah.
Jack Kirby, or Joe Simon. I don't think they were as like they were famous, but I don't think they were at that upper.
I can't remember the guy's
level.
name, but it wasn't Stanley. I can't remember the guy's. I don't know off the top of my head.
It is funny, like because even like you never know who has that. Like with Jerry Conway, like I knew he invented the Punisher, I knew he invented Firestorm, and I knew he invented Power Girl. But the second time we met him, I was like, wait, you had a hand on Jason Todd and Killer Croc, and it's pretty amazing when you dig deep on some of these guys, just what a lot of them had a hand in inventing.
Yeah.
Like Stan Lee, he invented Spider-Man, but like some of the villains he didn't invent, and it's just it's amazing who.
Yeah.
Like he started a universe, and then just how people have expanded on his amazing ideas.
Like in the first appearance of Vulture, he'd explain that Vulture's wings were magnets in a way that repelled and attracted, and that's how he moved and glided through the air and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. But thank you, Stan Lee, for everything you've given us. Rest in peace, and God bless.
And now you're sitting in the diner in the sky with Bob Kane.
I like to think that they're all having a beer or at a diner somewhere, just chilling, and all the squabbles are behind them and the hatchets are buried. So I like to think of them, all the creators, whoever worked with Stan or who didn't work with Stan and knew him and stuff, are all like chilling somewhere on some cloud,
even though
some booth and some diner in the sky.
I can't think of the one guy we met, but he worked for Stan Lee in the 40s, and it's pretty amazing when you think about like, wow, it's 2018.
Yeah.
And you've been working on comic
books. Oh, Alan
Bellman? Yeah, Alan Bellman.
Yeah, Bellman. Yeah. He's up there now.
He's so nice.
I met him. Yeah.
And like the fact that like he worked with Stan Lee all the way back in the 40s and 50s, and I'm like, that's a long time ago. It's just crazy to think that that's almost 70 years ago.
Yeah, those guys are getting up there.
I would say one of the GOATs in, whether you can call it nerdom, cinematography, even literature. Like English professors or whatever can get mad at me, but I would put him up there with some of my favorites, like an Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
I love Edgar Allan Poe, or I love even one of your favorites, Tolkien.
Yeah.
He would be up there with the Tolkien. I really believe
he's the Tolkien of the comic book world.
I think they'll probably be both up in heaven. Like, hey, we both created some pretty outstanding universes.
Definitely a legend. So now we're gonna switch over to our next topic. It's our holiday blockbuster toy topic. We're kind of gonna go through this and just we kind of talked about this last episode. Blockbuster toys and a little bit of facts about them through the years. So we did talk about Cabbage Patch. A little fact about them: they made like $600 million of Cabbage Patch.
Jeesh, that's that's dating back to I believe the mid '80s. Right?
Yeah, early 1983. That was and then we're gonna go to '84, which was Takara's Transformers, which were so popular they created a TV show, animated series off them, and movies.
And Hasbro wanted Transformers so badly that they flew executives to Japan.
Yeah.
And they just bought Transformers from Takara.
Right.
And I will say this, as weird as it sounds, both Gundam and Transformers were invented in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I like Gundam better.
Yeah.
I should eventually get something related to like an Optimus Prime and the
Megatron?
Megatron, yeah. I would love to. The only Transformers I ever 100% got in, ironically, as a 90s kid, was Beast Wars. Beast Wars was cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, I never really cared for Transformers.
And then you had Teddy Ruxpin, the bear that read stuff to children. He was animatronic. 88, you had the Nintendo. 89, Game Boy. These are all holiday blockbuster toys. And Game Boy, I did not know, sold 1.1 million units, and it was the best-selling electronic device. I guess still today. I guess this was
Really? Still, I'm still a huge Nintendo fan. Ironically, my favorite Nintendo game ever is probably, I think it will forever be Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal, and Yellow.
Yeah.
And those were when they had were like, I remember with Gold and Silver when it was the big deal that they put in color.
Yeah.
But it was like, it'd be like one color. So
Yeah.
the whole screen would be red. But like, I remember as kids, like, we loved that stuff.
Right. And then you had, moving on to 1990, TMNT action figures, which sold $30 million. That's what they made off them.
And those early ones, some of them are like, I follow Pixel Dan on YouTube, and some of those ones he still goes after because some of them are still worth. Because TMNT is still as popular as ever.
It's right now. Yeah, it's as big as ever.
Plus Nickelodeon picking it up, now they can have it to a whole new audience of kids.
Right. And then in 92, you had the Barney plush.
What about 91?
Well, this was just kind of not every year had like a Blockbuster toy. So that's kind of like what I like did my research on. Like, it was like not every single year had a Blockbuster toy. Like even this year for 2018 holiday season,
it was not as big as the My Size Elsa doll from a couple years ago,
exactly.
or like Hatchimals from the other year.
So like the Blockbuster toy phenomenon happens like every other year. Not every year, but there's like a toy that sells more than normal. There's a toy that sells more than normal every year. But there's like, it's like Blockbusters, like everybody has to have it. So 92 was Barney plush with a cassette. 93 was the Talk Boy. 94 was the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. 95 Beanie Babies. 96 Tickle Me Elmo, which was made by the Tyco Corporation. Had 1 million dolls sold, and they were sold out by 1996. And like, that was crazy because it creates fights, and like scalpers drive prices up and stuff like that.
Those videos are insane from YouTube. Those are insane.
Yeah, so like the Tickle Me Elmos that was like an insane Blockbuster toy. Like, certain ones are more insane than others.
If you guys want to see just how crazy some people can get for that, watch the Black Friday videos from that year.
Tamagotchi in 97, 15 sold every minute. Furbies were $35 at the time in 1998, but people scalped them for $300.
Oh, I never had one, but I had the McDonald's ones.
Yeah, I had
those were cool
too. Yeah. 1999 was just Pokemon anything from toys to plushies to cards to whatever. It said Pokemon.
Best fast food toys were Burger King Pokemon toys that year. Those are my favorite of
anything
all
that
time.
said Pokemon, and that's true. I was part of that fad and that Christmas rush.
I still want to get some of them. Like some of those, I see them on eBay. Like that Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Was awesome.
Yeah, they are still pretty cool, and they're coming back with that stuff now because it's like the game's popular and stuff, and create new games. 2000 Razor scooters. 2001 Bratz. 2002 Beyblades. 2005 Xbox 360. Which I was never really a fan of, like Xbox. I was a PlayStation guy. 2008 was the Nintendo Wii. 10 million units sold. 2009 was Zuzu Pets. I remember that was a huge one.
I don't remember that. That was the year we graduated high school. I don't remember Zuzu Pets. I remember I never knew Beyblades was as popular as that was. I always thought Beyblades were stupid.
Yeah, I thought they were too.
And I love
weird tops.
Because it's like, I know, like, when it comes to something like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like a Pokemon card game, or even like Magic, which I never got into Magic, but it's like, I can understand because you collect the cards, you build a deck.
Yeah.
Less exciting, like, oh, I get to customize a top and then vroom, like it just
and this is how popular Zuzu Pets were. It went from $9 and they upped the price. They jacked the price up from $9 to $60 a Zuzu Pet.
Oh my god!
Then you skip ahead to 2014, the My Size Elsa doll, which I remember my brother works at Target. And he said everybody asked for that one. It was completely sold out. They just didn't have enough.
Yeah, I remember your brother said like one woman literally screamed at him on the phone because she was like, "Your website says it." And he was like, "Ma'am, I apologize. Unfortunately, the website's not always correct." And she's like, "But your website says it." It's like, some people are crazy.
That was another insane, like, Blockbuster toy.
And it makes you wonder what's going to happen when Frozen 2 comes out.
Oh, yeah. They better have enough of those things. A lot of consumer and companies don't see it coming. Like, they don't. Sometimes it's just like when the holiday hits, The Blockbuster toy is the Blockbuster toy, and
That's
they don't make enough. They don't make
that's
enough.
like even back in the day when the 12 backs from Star Wars through Kenner, George Lucas, the film studio, gave him 100% of the merchandising rights where he could do what he wanted with it because people didn't think it'd be popular. So Kenner is still one of the coolest toy companies. I think did they get bought out by Mattel or Hasbro?
Hasbro.
Hasbro, and they were based out right here in Ohio. They're based out of Cincinnati, and they had the 12 backs from Star Wars. Like basically, you would what was it? It was like you would mail it away, and they would send you this cardboard thing like as a promise that after the holidays you would get it. It's just it's amazing because those were even popular, and it's like if you have a complete mint on card set of those 12 backs, that's like. It's like heaven to a Star Wars collector.
Yeah.
Because those, what do we see on Toy Hunter? They went for like 22,000,
something like that,
which is insane.
You got 2015 the BB-8 droid.
Yes, which you have.
Yeah, I have that. It's fun, and I could see why that was. It's still available. I could see why that was a Blockbuster toy because it was different. It was like you could operate it from your phone, and it just was convenient.
It has the cool magnets. Like I love how the head it moved, just like it did
on
screen.
It's very lifelike. 2016 Hatchimals.
Oh, those things.
Yeah, the things that would just hatch out of egg. You didn't know which one you were going to get. But those things are still popular, and they're looking to sell a lot of them this year for this holiday season. 2017 Fingerlings. Responds when you touch them and stuff, so they just wrap around your finger and stuff like that. They're very big. It's funny because they were very big last year. I remember you couldn't find one right before Christmas. I remember you couldn't find one before Christmas, but you found a whole mess of them after the holiday. And 2018, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a huge blockbuster holiday season toy. But the ones that are very popular this holiday season are like the one my brother says everyone's asking for at Target is the Ryan's World Giant Egg. It's like a big mystery egg. It comes with like a bunch of other collectible toys. So you don't know what you're getting. It's like you get a lot. It's like a big egg, and you spend like $50 or up for it. But it has a bunch of like little toys and stuff in it. Also, Fingerlings, the plush ones they're like big ones. They're like they hug you. $30. Hatchimals coming back. That's still popular. Still. LOL Surprise, bigger surprise ball, $90.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those it's at Walmart and Target and stuff, and they're just
$90 for a mystery item.
It's it's like think of a mystery item, but it comes with a bunch of stuff, but you don't know what you're gonna get.
Oh, that's I guess you could say that's kind of like lottery, like high risk, high
and
reward.
Those really have become popular lately. Those kind of things.
Yeah, well, even like I guess you could say.
I don't know what a Ryan's World Giant Egg is. I mean, what is that?
You could probably say that one of the companies that probably started the mystery craze the most would either be the OG with the Wonder Ball, if you remember that thing.
Yeah, the Wonder Ball.
Or Funko with their mystery minis.
Yeah. Other ones that are going to be real big are the For Real Critters. They're just kind of like these plush animals, but they talk and interact, and you could feed them and stuff. And here's a Target exclusive one called the Rockatoo Bird. And he's $80, and he's like this like rainbow parrot, and that one I think will be big because it's
a lot of money,
it's gonna be popular because I think those For Real Critters are getting big, and especially from a Target exclusive, that'll probably be a big deal. Other big ones are Harry Potter Lego Great Hall Set, $100, 878 pieces. I like mine. It's not the same, but I mean it's good. I mean it's a cool set. It's the new one, so. Also, the last one are Really Rad Robots. Really Rad Robots. It's remote controlled, has a microphone, and you can put it in stealth mode, and it's kind of like a spy toy. It's like $40. So those are the ones 2018 that are going to be big this holiday season. So that wraps up our holiday episode. One more question for you, my friend, before we go. What are you looking to get for Christmas that you're looking forward to, any toy-wise?
Mostly a lot of the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z figures I collect. I love those things. I still need a Marvel Legends Walmart exclusive Thanos.
Yeah. So that's on your Christmas list?
Yeah, that's all I can really think of off the top of my head. Oh, and those awesome Funko Christmas ones with like a Groot as a present. What about you?
I'm looking for the Mattel Aquaman line.
Oh, that's right. Especially the Black Manta, especially I saw that in person.
Yeah,
Black Manta looks cool, and that fish creature Build-A-Figure.
Yeah, I'll definitely get some from that line for Christmas. Probably some Marvel Legends, maybe that Thor 2-pack, the Iron Man Walmart
The
2-pack, Luke Cage 2-pack with his girlfriend. A couple Marvel Legends, definitely the Aquaman Mattel line, some of those figures, and that's pretty much it. I did a lot of for Cyber Monday and Black Friday. I did a lot for Legends and Black Friday. So, but okay, well that wraps up our holiday episode. Hope everybody has a happy, healthy holiday season. Happy holidays. Hope it's all safe and well. And
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa.
Also, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We just want to thank you guys since this is our last episode for the year. Thank you for all our subscribers, our viewers, our fans. Definitely made this year memorable for starting this toy podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe to Talking Toys on Facebook and SoundCloud. New episode of 2019, probably up in February. Probably take like a month off in January. And we'll be talking about taking care of your collection and what makes a good toy shop. So that'll be our next episode topic for that.
Soon down the road, too, we'll have to do like some of our favorite recommendations. Just if you come to Ohio, just little things like that.
Yeah, and just kind of what makes a good toy shop and how to take care of your collection, such as cleaning and how do you keep it up to date and spacious and not look too sloppy and organized. So we'll be talking about that. Look for the next episode to probably come out at the start of February. Just wanted to thank you guys, the fans, for making this podcast is what it is. Hope you listen to it and enjoy it. We definitely enjoyed doing it this year. Signing off, this is Brock Lauer.
And Kyle Walters.
And to Excelsior and beyond.